The Freddy Fazbear Box just dropped at Popeyes for $7.99, and it's scary good. Garlic palm tenders and cheesy bites with marinara sauce. Upgrade to the deluxe box for $12.99 and get a 20-ounce drink in a cupcake cup. Dig in before it's too late. Try the Freddy Fazbear Crunch menu, now at Popeyes. See Five Nights at Freddy's 2, only in theaters. Love that chicken from Popeyes. Limited time at participating U.S. restaurants. Prices may vary.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With the all-new Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from good to excellent. Introducing the new Sleep Score on Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network. Attention Ditto Heads. Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the Soul of Excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
Some more breaking news. So this time, and this is big, we have learned that the Justice Department's case against former FBI Director Jim Comey and the New York Attorney General have both been dismissed. CNN's Caitlin Polance is covering this. Caitlin, okay, what happened here? I don't know which case you want to take first.
Well, they both are being dismissed, and for essentially the same reason that Lindsay Halligan, the Eastern District of Virginia interim U.S. attorney sent there by Donald Trump, not Senate confirmed, that she doesn't have the power. What the judge here has found, this is Judge Cameron Curry from South Carolina, she came into the district, heard arguments from both of the lawyers on these cases against Lindsay Halligan's role. They argued that she didn't have the power because she wasn't Senate confirmed, and thus these indictments are invalid. The judge is agreeing with that. Judge Curry is saying that the Attorney General's attempt to install Ms. Halligan as interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was invalid, and because Ms. Halligan had no lawful authority to present the indictment, James Comey's motion is granted, the indictment is dismissed. Now, the judge does mention Letitia, that this is without prejudice. So in legal speak, that means that it could be brought back by another prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia if they took it through the grand jury again. But everything Lindsay Halligan did at the end of September, beginning of October, and since then...
Okay. So before the celebrations continue, it's done without prejudice. Get another attorney, get another grand jury, do it all again. Get busy. James Golden, Bo Snerdley here with you. Welcome to the Monday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, my friends. I'm just reading something that is completely blowing my mind. I mean, I did all the show prep, have all these stories here. Then I see a story. Red Apple Media boss, John Katzmatidis, sent this story out. And I'm just like looking at this, and I am having apoplexy. What the New York City Council has up its sleeve for homeowners, for people, landlords. The New York City and the New York City Council, they're a bunch more radical than this Mondani guy. Mondani. They are wicked radical. I've never heard of a scheme like this before. This is insanity. What they want to do in the name of affordable housing is start something called, let me get the name of it right, the Community Opportunity Purchase Act. Community Opportunity Purchase Act. So here's how this plays out. I'm reading right from the New York Post article on this. Say you happen to own a 3-family rental property, and you want to sell your property. Your property. You bought it. It's your property. Say you, for whatever reason, You come to the end, I want out of this property, I want to sell it. What these radical, leftist, socialist, communists are trying to implement into law is that you would first announce your intention to sell your own property, almost like getting permission. I want to sell my property for this price. And then you would have to wait at least 6 months for city approval to see if a city-approved nonprofit group wants to match the price that you're asking for your house. And that's at least 6 months you'd have to wait to see if some city-connected, some liberal nonprofit group wants to buy your property. Only then would you be able to sell your property on the public market. You have to give the city you have to give their connected groups right of first refusal to buy your property, but you have to wait 6 months. This is total freaking insanity. People have all kind of reasons for selling their properties, and they don't. Sometimes, I want to move, and I have to move now. I need to buy another place. Now you have to wait 6 months to sell your property to see if some special interest legal commie group wants to buy it at a matched price. What if there were bidding wars? Oh, no. You have to sell it, I guess, to the commie group. This is and the commies haven't even taken official office yet. I'm telling this is going to be a mess. They are going to destroy. These people are going to destroy the housing market in New York. And if they do it in New York, I was looking the other day, I mentioned California. You know, California had, and the fires took place in January, 7,000 properties burned. Thanks to the bureaucracy in California, do you know how many houses have been rebuilt? Philip is back. Philip was on vacation last week. He was hopefully traveling around the country. Just a random question, Philip. 7,000 properties burned out in Southern California in those fires, the Palisades fires, the Eaton fires, it all spread last January. 7,000. Do you know how many houses have been rebuilt? Take one guess.
Funny you mention it. Guess where I was on vacation?
Where?
I was right there. I was in California.
You were there?
I was in the Palisades, yeah. Drove through it. Didn't see that many homes rebuilt. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot of open space for sure.
Okay. Do you have any idea how many homes have been rebuilt?
You said 7,000 burned down?
7,000 in the whole fire out there.
I'm gonna guess that number's a little lower than 7,000. Just maybe a tad bit lower.
Okay, a tad bit lower. Okay. Carlos, how many do you think have been rebuilt?
4.
4? Wow. TJ, how many houses have been rebuilt? 1. One house. Because of all of the bureaucracy, all the stuff in California. 1 of the 7,000 houses that burned has been rebuilt. These people are like a plague. These liberals. They are a plague on humanity. Have you heard of Gobblegate? This is not how I wanted to start the show. This is just happening because the story popped in front of my... It's just one thing. Have you heard of Gobblegate? Do you know what Gobblegate is?
Sounds like a Thanksgiving story.
It's a Thanksgiving scheme. Gobblegate. New York, we're back to New York again. New Yorkers preparing the gift of warm Thanksgiving feast to the less fortunate might want to check the fine print. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is being slammed for turning a turkey giveaway into a slush fund. In an email pitch that lures supporters in with holiday cheer, Says Thanksgiving's 2 weeks away. Will you chip in $5 or anything you can today to help us bring the joy of the holiday season into homes around New York City this year? So you say, okay, I want to do that. I want to help bring some joy and love into homes this year. So when you click to donate, where does it go? The link takes you to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for Congress. The appeal continues. Last year, we gave out over 600 turkeys to families at Thanksgiving who didn't have one. This year, we hope to double that number. It then urges people to please donate anything you can afford right now to give hundreds of families an opportunity to celebrate community, mutual aid, and gratitude. Then the donation options appear. Anything from $5 to $1,000, and people are encouraged to use reoccurring donations. And right below it comes the disclaimer. The donations are campaign contributions, not charitable gifts. Selecting a dollar amount brings a disclosure, says the New York Post, that the appeal is paid for by the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for Congress, and a reminder that donations are not deductible as charitable contributions at tax time. They do note that while AOC handed out turkeys in the past, this year it appears she's changed her fundraising recipe. A former council member, Joe Borelli, says a campaign is not supposed to be a pass-through for charitable work. What if she raised enough money for 1 million turkeys? Would she buy 1 million turkeys? Or would she keep 990,000 for her campaign and then throw the rest of the turkeys out in the back of a truck and take a photo op? This is a clear case of why a campaign is not a charitable organization. Even other Democrats are distancing themselves from this fundraising scheme. Rather sleazy, eh? Or the appearance is sleazy. I'm not accusing her of anything. I don't know whether she intends to do. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the appearance is sleazy. It's tawdry. It's not transparent. All right, we need to take a break. James Golden, Snerdley. It is Monday. We'll be right back. I'm going to go with the stuff I had originally. The AOC story wasn't what I was going to lead with. But then when we were talking about this other scam with how these people in New York, these socialists want to destroy real estate, it just seemed like the natural blend. So we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Both Snerdley.
I knew it.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Today, the news came, my friends, that Jimmy Cliff passed away. Jamaican ska, rock, steady reggae, soul musician, singer, actor. Passed away at age 81. He's credited with really helping bring the sound of Jamaica to a global audience like this one. His version of Wide World, version of Johnny Nash's I Can See Clearly. He started in The Harder They Come. And that was attributed as one of the films that first brought reggae to America. The only living reggae musician to hold the Order of Merit, granted by the Jamaican government for achievements in the arts and sciences. Jimmy Cliff making his transition today. The music will live on. James Golden, Snerdley, with you here. Okay, let's get to this. You all know, may know by this time, should know, that Hegseth, Secretary, they keep calling him Secretary of Defense in the stories, and I'm liable to say it, Secretary of Woe, because it's now the Woe Department. Secretary of Woe, Pete Hegseth said earlier today that the Pentagon is going to conduct a thorough review of the allegations against Mark Kelly, one of the 6 Democrats who appeared in that infuriating, ugly, horrific video trying to stir unrest in the military and intelligence agency, deliberately set out to be provocative in it. Kelly said in a statement, Secretary Hegseth's tweet is the first I heard of this. I also saw a president's post saying I should be arrested, hanged, and put to death. That's not what he said. In a statement accompanied by a photo of a Navy uniform laden with medals, including 2 distinguished flying crosses. If this is meant to intimidate me and other members of Congress from doing our jobs and holding this administration accountable, it won't work. I've given too much to this country to be silenced by bullies who care more about their own power than protecting the Constitution. After Princess Diana's analysis of this on our show Saturday, I got to thinking, you know what we are not hearing in, ladies and gentlemen, in all of these questions, these interviews, and we have some of the interviews, we're not hearing anyone ask any of these people whose idea with this? Whose idea with this? And how did you all logistically come together to do this? Where did this operation originate? Have you heard that question? I haven't heard that question. Haven't heard anybody. But you have people talking like Alyssa Slotkin, cut 4. She was on ABC News. It's quick because she doesn't have that much to say.
Let's talk right now. Do you believe President Trump has issued any illegal orders?
To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal, but certainly there are some legal gymnastics that are going on with these Caribbean strikes and everything related to Venezuela.
If there are no illegal orders, then what was the point of this? What was the point of trying to urge members of the military and the intelligence community to disobey illegal orders if there are no illegal orders? We'll be back. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush. I know the president himself has survived these 2 attempts on his life. You've talked to us about those risks to him. And then we had this killing of Charlie Kirk just a few months ago. Is the president holding himself to the same standard that he is asking of others when it comes to dialing back dangerous rhetoric?
You know, everybody knows that the president is famous for his unfiltered social media. But if you take at face value the idea that calling your opponents traitors and then specifically saying that it warrants the death penalty is reckless, inappropriate, irresponsible, there are a number of other ways to describe it, but it's not something that is helping the country heal wounds. I think it stirs things up, and really, I think we can do better.
Senator Rand Paul, ladies and gentlemen. James Golden, Snerdley. That was deep. That was a deep song back then. It's still a deep song. Incredible writing. James Golden, Snerdley here. So that was Rand Paul. Donald Trump has, Rand Paul went on. Let's just get the other Rand Paul. We're not going to play the whole thing. Runs 2 minutes. Here we go. He was on CBS. Cut number 7. And yeah.
I want to ask you, because of your position on Homeland Security, you may have some insight into the drug cartels. You are also on Senate Foreign Relations. And it is tomorrow that the Trump administration officially will designate the Cartel de los Soles as a foreign terrorist organization. That's the cartel the Trump administration says is linked to Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Secretary Hegseth says it gives the administration new tools. Nothing's on or off the table, he says, militarily. Legally, what changes tomorrow? What becomes possible?
I think by doing this, they're pretending as if we are at war. They're pretending as if they've gotten some imprimatur to do what they want. When you have war, the rules of engagement are lessened. So, for example, we normally don't shoot boats that we suspect of being drug dealers. In fact, if the Coast Guard tomorrow started shooting all vessels that are off of Miami or off of San Diego, about 1 in 4 of the vessels that they normally board doesn't have drugs. So it actually would be unlawful if the Coast Guard started blowing up boats. But for some reason, they say, oh, we're at war off the coast of Venezuela, and so it's a different rule of engagement. It's one of war. But, you know, Senator Kaine and I brought this up, and we said if it's war, let's declare it as war. Let's have this discussion. Is it war or not?
All right, now, look, some people are going to give him grief over that. I actually think that I don't necessarily agree with his position, but I understand why he's making the case. And this goes back in American history. You can go back and through and look at the debates over the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. But no one knows what I'm talking about in this. Gulf of Tonkin, that's Vietnam War stuff. They were arguing about the presidential power to commit the to military acts has always been a back and forth. Even the Iraq War, Democrat, well, you need a resolution from Congress. This goes on all the time. Nothing new here. Donald Trump posted on social media, whatever happened to Senator Rand Paul? He was never great, but he went really bad in caps. I got him elected twice in the great Commonwealth of Kentucky, but he just never votes positively for the Republican Party. He's a nasty little guy, much like Congressman Thomas Massey, a.k.a. Rand Paul Jr., also of Kentucky, which I won 3 times in massive landslides. He puts in parentheses. A sick wacko who refuses to vote for our great Republican Party, MAGA, or American First. It's really weird. So, hot on the heels of the MTG stuff. There are all kind of things. Oh, did you hear Jasmine Crockett may be running for Senate in Texas? We have that. It's a little bit lengthy. But also Jasmine's the Supreme Court, just knocking the Supreme Court as trashy. And then there's that woman. We played her the other day. That woman, Afton Bain, who's running special election. News stories now focused on it because they want to see if Democrats can keep their winning streak going. This is the woman who's running in Nashville for a congressional seat. Cut 8. She was on PMS, whatever it is now, with Al Sharpton of the Tawana Brawley hoax claim. And
Trump has called you the AOC of Tennessee, and Republicans have resurfaced old comments you made, comments that you made about not liking country music. What's your response to these Republican attacks?
Yeah, as a Nashvilleian, I think we all get a little annoyed with the tourists that come to town, but that doesn't mean I love my city. In fact, instead of sitting on the sideline and complaining about it, I decided to run for office, and that's why I'm the state representative that represents downtown Nashville.
Okay, so now she's blaming the tourists for her saying, and it wasn't what he said, D's. Where's your response to D's thing? The word is these, Al, with a T. But anyway, just saying it is not just country music that she said she disliked. There's video, and I couldn't play it here because it's just nothing but screaming, and you wouldn't understand. This woman tried to sit in at the governor's office there. They dragged her out, and she's on her knees crying, having a temper tantrum like a toddler, screaming when she was in the top of her lungs. Then they have other videos of her screaming from the balcony of the state legislature. It's all, but she's screaming at the top of her lungs. This woman, something's off here. So she says that the tourists. I was just annoyed at the tourists. Cut 10. This is the Friendly Network. They're rooting for her on PMS Now, whatever we are. And
Representative, in 2020, you made some tweets that have since been deleted that were very critical of police. You said in those since deleted tweets that the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department should be dissolved. Another cheered on a teachers union saying that defund the police should be a requirement for schools reopening. And another saying good morning, especially to the 54% of Americans that believe burning down a police station is justified. 2020 was obviously a very fraught year. Do you still stand by those comments? And if not, is there anything you want to clarify? I'm not going to engage in cable news talking points, but what I will say is that our communities need solutions. We need local people deciding, solving local problems with local solutions. And that's not the overreach of a federal government or state government of which we are dealing with in Nashville and our cities across the state of Tennessee. So you don't want to clarify whether you still believe that the police should be defunded?
Once again, I don't remember these tweets, but what I'm saying is that
I'm not asking you if you remember. What is your position today? How's that on this issue?
I mean, once again, I'm here to talk about my race, which is in literally 9 days.
She refuses to answer. Burning down police stations. Okay, let's go back to the original one, folks. This woman's a whoa. Anyway, I'm not going to say it because I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I don't know. Afton Burke, cut 17. Let us remember, this is her denial after first it came out and then what she said that got everything going about Nashville. Cut 16, cut 16, Carlos. Cut 16.
New tonight, a clip from a 5-year-old podcast coming back to bite 7th District congressional candidate Afton Bain. She said in that podcast, "I hate Nashville," and her comments didn't end there. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar here with more on Bain's comments and how voters and others are reacting.
This is a very hot button issue right now as the race tightens between the two congressional candidates. Democratic candidate Afton Bain is at the center of controversy. According to the Tennessee Holler's social media post, Bain was one of the hosts of a podcast called Grits on the Tennessee Holler Podcast Network. She is heard saying this in part on a February 2020 episode, quote, "I've been heavily involved in the Nashville mayoral race because I hate the city, I hate the Bachelorettes, I hate country music, I hate all the things that make Nashville apparently an it city," end quote. Voters are divided.
I mean, why would we put someone in office that doesn't like Nashville and spoke the way she did about Nashville?
I hate, and we had the actual quote, and I'll find it for later in the week, but you got it. I hate Nashville, I hate country music, hate the Bachelor, I hate all that stuff. And she denies it anyway. This is the woman that Democrats are pinning their hopes on. There's big stuff happening in Minneapolis after Trump said he's taking away the temporary protections for Somalian immigrants. That stuff we don't have time for because those cuts, both of them, or one of them runs almost well over 2 minutes, and I want you to hear the whole thing when we have time for it. Then there's Jasmine. I'm looking at the clock. Okay, Jasmine. Cut 12, Jasmine Quackett. Cut 11 first, and then cut 12.
So
we got
for sure,
two
we
Jasmines.
need Supreme Court reform ASAP. I have a number of bills for that if I could just get, enough Democrats to help me get this done. But we need ethics reform. We need to expand the court. There's a lot that we need to do with this Supreme Court because of how utterly trash they are. So
how utterly trash they are. How utterly trash they are. Jasmine Crockett is calling. Let me just play the next one.
So you are, we're told, weighing a decision on whether to jump into this Texas Senate race, challenging Republican Senator John Cornyn for his seat, although it's unclear that Cornyn will survive a Republican primary. You said you had a meeting this week with pollsters to discuss your chances. Did you have that meeting? And if so, how did it go? Are you still thinking about running?
I am still thinking about running. We did get our polling back, so we are moving on to the next phase to determine whether or not this is would make sense in the moment, and if the infrastructure can be built out in the way that I see it being necessary to actually be able to win, as well as we are continuing to look at the polling on the other side. Listen, they are in a civil war right now on the Republican side as it relates to who will become their nominee. John Cornyn has served the state of Texas for decades at this point in time in some capacity. And right now, I don't know if he's MAGA enough to make it through his primary, but we are evaluating all things and seeing what it would look like to put together a team. And we will make a final decision by Thanksgiving on whether or not we're going to ultimately move forward.
What did the polling information that you got back show? I mean, is it a calculation of whether or not you're going to be facing Cornyn, who might have more appeal to moderates in your state, centrists in your state, as opposed to a more MAGA candidate who potentially defeats Cornyn in the primary that you might, or any Democrat might, have a better chance against?
I'll tell you this, that head to head, we are doing really well against Paxton. I will say that. I will also tell you that we are actually within the margin of error as it relates to John Cornyn. So to be perfectly honest, the only reason that I'm continuing to consider whether or not I do this is because my polling says I can win. That is the bottom line. But at the end of the day, a poll is a poll. And so you need to actually be able to execute on that. So whether it's Cornyn or whether it's Paxton, we feel confident that we can get this done. The thing is, we obviously would prefer to have Paxton.
Right. He'll be easier to beat. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great Thanksgiving with your family.
Same to you.
We prefer Paxton. Yeah. Jasmine. James Golden, Snerdley. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Snerdley.
Rush. Now here's James Golden.
No, it's insane. Insane, some of the things we have. On this day in 1943, Richard T. was born. T-E-E. He was a pianist, studio musician, singer, arranger. So many studio credits, including on this one, Until You Come Back to Me, written by Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, I'll Be Sweeter Tomorrow, the OJs, The Hustle, Van McCoy, Slip Sliding Away, Paul Simon, In Your Eyes, Peter Gabriel, Tell Her About It, Billy Joel, so many. Died young. He was on Stevie Wonder's Golden Lady, too, and on the Intervisions album. Just an amazing musician. Also, born on this day, Terry Lewis. Terry and Jimmy. Terry Lewis from Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. So much commercial success. Worked a lot, of course, with Janet Jackson on her ride to the top. 31 top 10 hits across the pond. 41 top 10 hits here in the United States. Lionel Richie, TLC, Michael Jackson, Aretha, Boyz II Men, Usher, Chaka Khan, Mariah Carey, Prince, Bryan Adams, Snoop Dogg, Spice Girls, George Michael, Rod Stewart, Gwen Stefani, and Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam. Just one of the amazing production crews. This one did extremely well for Janet. Of course, every time I hear this, I can't help but think about Sly Stone. And thank you, because, well, you listen to the music, you get it. Thank you. This is like... Anyway, we got to go, folks. So much more news I wanted to get to, and we will get to some of it, including this week. What's going on in Charlotte is still going on in Charlotte. And the tales of woe are being magnified all over the place with the ice raids there. Snap, still in the news. And so much more. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude. Always for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we will be back tomorrow for the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest hour in American media. Until then, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?